Hello, thank you for joining me in this episode of Tu Sangre. I am your host, Roger Reyes, Señor Sangre. And in this episode, we'll be talking to Naomi, a nurse at South Texas Blood and Tissue. She'll talk about how she gives back, but then also talk about her journey of her daughter. We'll learn a little bit about marrow donation as well as blood donation and how the two were so important for her and her family. So stay tuned. Today, we have a special guest that's joining me today, Naomi Herrera, who works here at the South Texas Blood and Tissue Blood Bank here in San Antonio. And they kind of oversee all of South Texas. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does here. She also has a personal story behind of what she continues to do, why she continues to do her things here in the medical field. But without further ado, Naomi, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Roger.
Oh, thanks for being here. We've known each other for a very long time.
We have.
And I love that, the passion that you bring to this job, the passion that you have for your staff, but also with the people you work with as far as patient goes. So
Yes.
I know you've been at this for a very long time. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, who Naomi is.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting question to even ask. I really don't ask that of myself, but I've been a nurse for the past 16 years. And I became a nurse because my brother had gotten sick. And when we were in the hospital, I really couldn't understand the jargon that the doctors were talking and stuff. And my brother did pass. But then from right there, I knew I needed to become a nurse just to know more. And I always had like a servant's heart. So I wanted to help people. So when I became a nurse, I worked in a couple of different fields, which helped me in my career succession. And when a job became available with the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center, I applied as a donor advocate nurse. That's how I got my foot in the door. And I did that for a couple of years just to help blood donors with any type of eligibility questions, any type of donor reactions, anything like that. And when another position became available to be the manager of the cellular therapy division, I was a little nervous. However, I did work very closely and I continue to work very closely with our medical director, who really said, Naomi, I feel you can do this. And 8 years later, I've been doing it. And it has been the best decision I've ever made being here. So what I do in my department is I am the manager of an apheresis center. We collect stem cells from donors. They could be related, but mostly we work with unrelated donors that are just so willingly wanting to help other people that they have no idea who they are, who is suffering from a blood cancer or blood disorder, and they donate their stem cells to help save their life. So how awesome is that?
That is awesome.
Yes.
Before we get into all this, a lot to take in there.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning
Sure.
of Naomi wanting to be a nurse, take us down that road and what that looked like as far as becoming a nurse and going through school and all that. What was that all that like?
Oh, man. When I decided to become a nurse, I was already a young mother, married. And I just told my husband, I was like, you know what? Instead of working these dead end jobs, I was like, I need to do something also to help our family. So when I went to Galen College of Nursing, and I just jumped in, I did the whole 12-month straight schooling, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's what they say anyways. But yeah, 24/7. And I did that and I passed and just went on from there. It just really took off. My first nursing job was with a kidney doctor. And that kind of helped me also later on in life with my husband. But I was there, learned a lot, met a lot of great people, still in contact with the doctors I worked with, worked there for 4.5 years and came over here to the blood bank just to expand on so much more here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Total opposites of working with critical patients Now with healthy donors, it was a bit different for me because it's just one opposite spectrum to another.
Right. So I guess when people think about working as a nurse, they're always thinking about sick patients and patients that really need help. Whereas on your side, it's working with donors. Talk about a little bit about the difference about that.
Right.
When you first went in there, you wanted to go and help people, and now that's kind of changed a little bit.
That is. So when I first became a nurse and I was helping critically ill patients, they are patients who maybe they were pre-dialysis, post-transplant, very sick individuals that needed to have dialysis in order to live, right? Or getting their transplant and moving forward with that. But always dealing with critically ill patients. I mean, it was like also so much critical thinking when a lab result comes in. You had to jump on that lab because if their potassium, sodium, anything is off level, it could really be damaging. It could be fatal. So that helped me, especially at the beginning of my nursing career. Okay. Now working with the opposite, healthy donors. So now seeing normal labs, what normal labs should look like, but knowing that they're actually helping somebody who is basically on their deathbed.
Right.
And it's just awesome, the reward afterwards, that you know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and so do they. And then just people just being so compassionate to help others just gives you another hope in humanity.
Wow. Yeah. So going back a little bit about as a nurse, at that point, you're working with these sick patients, and we are talking about blood in this podcast. At any point, did you ever have to transfuse patients?
Right.
What you were doing? So
when I worked in the doctor's office, so yes, I know that our doctor would have to actually send our patients into the emergency room to get blood transfusions. Yes. So we did do that quite often because they needed it. Their anemia was just so low and they needed these blood transfusions immediately because they had zero energy. And it was just damaging them more and more. So yes, we did. And not knowing that I would be in that world, right, helping find people to promote blood donation.
So somebody who's been in there and seen blood transfusions, what were some of the impacts that these blood transfusions had on these patients? What were some signs that like, oh, they just got a blood transfusion?
Right. So, before, when you would see people, but they actually looked like physically, they were like so white. There was no red in their cheeks. Their lips were pale. And as soon as they would start getting their blood transfusion, you would just see that little bit of color come back. They were still a little bit tired, or the feeling of being tired, but you can see like almost like the flush come back in their face and you're like, okay, great. They're going to start feeling better, doing better, that's what we were all in hopes of. So yeah, just actually physically seeing the change was wow.
Now, at that point, was there a specific type of patient you were working with, like maybe just male or female or older patients, or was it across the board spectrum?
So it was usually older patients. Well, I would just say between the ages maybe 50 to 70 at that time, right? Mostly male patients, mostly Hispanic men that usually were diabetic, had hypertension. And that's what usually, not always, usually kills off our kidneys, genetics, how we eat, our lifestyles. And that's what I would normally see.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So when was that turning point to say, okay, I've done this part, now it's time to kind of see what else is out there? When was that? When did that happen? And take us through that.
Sure. So during that time when I was thinking about, so I'm an LVN, so I wanted to go back for my RN. Okay, so my husband at that time really had a good job. And again, I said, okay, I want to go back to school. So I had quit my job at the renal doctor and I had gone back to school, and I was in school for about 2 months. And after, I want to say maybe going into my second course, my husband got very sick. And he actually went on dialysis, because he didn't listen to his wife, like I didn't know what I was talking about, as you men do, don't listen. I had to go back to work. So when I started looking for a job, this is where I found was South Texas Blood and Tissue Center. And it just happened. Wow. I know.
Full circle.
It is.
Wow, that's crazy. And how that all comes back.
Yeah.
So you're here now. You've been here, 8 years?
Going on 10 years.
10 years.
8 years in my department. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 10 full years here at the South Texas Blood and Tissue Blood Bank here. Talk about your time here. I know you said you started at one position and now you're 2 years at another position here within the company. Talk about those first couple of years and what that was like.
So the first couple of years was, I was a little bit nervous because I really didn't know what I was jumping into with the blood banking. Again, from one critically ill patient to healthy people that we are trying to promote to get into our building to donate blood to help critically ill patients, right? So that was a bit of a learning curve for me, knowing all of the criteria for donating blood. Like, we had to fill out a questionnaire when you want to come and donate, and just some of the questions that would come up. Maybe some of our donors have questions on medications they're taking, or maybe travel that they just weren't sure if they would be able to qualify to donate. So I had to have all of those answers, plus additional answers to help our technicians that would call in, because they would call to help to get medical assistance. So that was a bit different. It did take some time to learn that. You just don't come in already knowing and have 6 weeks of training. It was like 6 months to 8 months of training with the great nurses I worked with at that time. So that took a while. And after I got the hang of that, I became the lead of the area. I became the supervisor of our donor pavilion and our southeast location where you can donate blood. So I did that for a while until I moved over to cellular therapy.
Wow. So in those years, what were some of the most common questions that maybe people misinformation about?
Right. So we would get a lot of questions or just statements of, oh, I'm diabetic, I can't donate, or, oh, I have hypertension, I can't donate. And that is not true. That is not true. There are some medications that we ask for you maybe to hold off of donating until you're off, maybe an antibiotic or something like that. But, a lot of people are just scared because they don't know. It's education. We have to educate everybody of donating and the reasoning why we're needing to donate. Because a lot of people don't understand until their family is faced with needing that blood product, and it may not be there on the shelf if we don't have these donors coming in.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So everyone watching, don't defer yourself. You probably can donate and you just don't know it. I know fear is probably something that we all run in. Like, we always want to get help. And I think people want to generally give back and have big hearts. But they do shy away when you say, okay, can you stick a needle in your arm for the next 8 to 10 minutes? Right. And you're like, let me double think. But yeah. So talking about what you do now, you made that transition from the blood side and you're now over in the stem cell side. Talk about that. So exciting.
Oh, man, it is very exciting. So now there's a lot of research coming up for maybe early treatments for any type of cancers to help out. So there's a lot of companies jumping on board and saying, hey, what can we develop to help people sooner? The statistics of people having cancer, I mean, no matter what cancer you have, if you're going through any type of chemo treatment, you're going to need a blood product in some form, maybe just not right then and there, but you're going to need that. Where we step in is helping with treatments, stem cells, looking for a particular white blood cell count. White blood cells are already in our blood system, helps our immunity. Sometimes the people that we're donating to just needs that little boost. Doesn't mean we are taking all of your white blood cells. Doesn't mean you're going to get sick. We do get some of those questions of, well, if I donate my stem cells, it's going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. It's almost like a blood draw. If you say, we place an IV in your arm, and you lay down, you can rest, you can sleep, we get you food, we accommodate everything we can for you. It's just a little longer period of time because it's a very slow process. That's why it's not painful or anything like that. So we look for particular white blood cells already in our system. We would draw them, they're collected, and they're actually sent out to transplant centers or facilities to help people with immediate transfusions to help save their lives.
Wow. So not everyone can do that though, right? It's a little different from a blood donation versus a stem cell donation. So
right.
How if you can just tell us a little bit, because this audience kind of knows about blood donation. We've been talking about it, but talk about who actually qualifies to donate stem cells.
Right. So there's different criteria, just depending on what company that we are working with at that time. Speaking of research, so there's all different kinds of criteria, right? But there's one particular group that we are in partnership with, and they're called NMDP, formerly known as the National Marrow Donor Program. What they do is they have a registry that doctors can use all over the world to see if there is somebody that actually has registered to become a donor that may be a genetic match for their person that's their patient in the hospital that's suffering with a blood cancer such as leukemia, lymphoma. They're even helping with sickle cell anemia. But you have to be on that registry in order for them to find you, to request to see if you can help them.
So generally the next question, how do you get on this registry to help?
Right. So to get on the registry is pretty easy. Everything is actually done on your phone. You can just text Taylor, let's just use that, TAYLOR, to the number of 61474. And you would actually receive a link back to your phone. You fill out a profile, takes about 10 minutes or so. It's going to ask you some personal questions. A kit is going to actually be mailed to you. And what's inside of that kit is 2 big Q-tips that you're actually going to rub inside of your mouth to put a little bit of DNA on there, and you're going to mail it back to them. You have to get on this registry once in your whole life, and you're on there till you're 61, just to see if you're ever called. And just think, it takes 480 people to maybe be a match for one person.
Wow.
480 people have to do that in order for maybe one to be a match.
Wow. So your chances of actually matching are pretty slim.
Pretty slim. I mean, it's like, to us, when we see you in the apheresis center, we say you won the lottery. You're actually really connected to somebody and helping save their life right then and there.
And I think you and I have been talking, and some of the other people have been talking. Usually these patients have exhausted all other options for survival.
Right. So when you were referring back to your original question about criteria, so there is different criteria. A lot of it is very lenient as well. So sometimes if people are not able to donate blood for whatever reason, they may be able to do this, because you got to think, this is last chance for that somebody in the hospital. This is their last chance of living.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So in your area, I mean, I would hope that many people would want to go and be part of this. How many average donors do you see on a day or a week or?
We're actually able to collect 4 donors a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week if we had to. And, sadly is maybe we get 9 or 10 a month. Yeah. It's very, very sad. I mean, some months we'll have a little bit more people come through who are actually donating, but there's not enough. There's not enough. And you just never know if your person out there is waiting for you to get on the registry. And that's the sad part.
Wow. So again, you just got to text Taylor to that number you just gave.
Right. 61474.
And they would then send you a kit, cheek swab.
That's it.
And send it back in, and you're on there to the 61st birthday.
Yes. It'll take about 2 to 3 months to process. But during that time, you'll receive some emails letting you know, we received your kit. It's in process. And you'll finally get one that says, yes, you're on the registry. And they'll send them out periodically, just making sure that your contact information is correct and that you still do want to be on the registry.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. So moving on from that to, I am a match for somebody. Take us to the next steps of what that looks like.
Okay. So when you actually get the call of that you are a match, the people on the other line are going to let you know who you're a match for. Maybe if it's a male or female. It could be a child. It could be an infant. We've had some of our patients be infants, which is very sad. They're born already with cancer. After that, you can know their diagnosis. You'll go through a physical, just making sure that you are healthy enough to go through this, of donating your stem cells, because we always want to make sure you're safe, right? We also want to make sure you are the compatible match for that patient in the hospital. So after your physical is done and you're cleared to donate, you will have a collection date. So we get people that are from all over the United States that are flown to us. We've even had a couple of people from Japan.
Wow.
From Guam. We've had somebody come from Alaska so far, and Hawaii, which we said we would go there to collect, but that got turned down. So they're flown in from all over the United States just to have this donation done. And the good thing is everything is covered for them. Their airfare for themselves, companion, food, Lyft, Uber, hotel, pet accommodations, childcare, everything, lost wages, everything is paid for, because we never want any type of financial hindrance, for you to say, yes, or I really want to help, but I can't because of. So they take away all of that financial burden off of you.
Wow.
Right.
And right now, something you said is it applies to all types of patients. So it's not just elderly, like you were working with males, but you said infants. So it's a broad spectrum, spectrum of patients that you're working with.
All ages. Exactly. And in all stages of their cancer.
Wow.
Yes. So
stem cells, is that different from bone marrow? Because I think that's kind of some things people get confused sometimes. Right.
So when, in the entertainment industry, when they say, oh, we're going to go and do a bone marrow harvest, it is, the drilling inside of our iliac crest bone. And that does happen. It's very seldom. But usually if you're asked to do that, it is for a very small child who needs this, because those stem cells in there are very immature. So that's what they're wanting to help grow with that child, right? So you do hear that, and it's just like, oh, but you got to think you're helping this person, and it's an in and out procedure. You're out for maybe 45 minutes, and how you feel afterwards is what I'm told. I've never done this yet, or I haven't done this yet to help somebody. They say that you have like, a workout, a hard workout for like 2 weeks. And that's how you feel a little sore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other way is kind of how you were saying with the IV and laying on the bed.
Right. It is very comfortable. And we have like fluid warmers. So your blood is warm back. Going back to you. It's just for comfort, because once our blood goes into any type of disposable kit, so it's something that we use that gets thrown away. It's only used one time on one donor, so some people get scared of that. It's like, are you reusing something over and over? No, we don't. Everything is sterile that we use. So the fluid warmer helps with comfort, like I said. And what it's doing is just warming the blood that's coming back to you. Because as soon as your blood goes out of your body, it starts losing that temperature.
Okay.
And it's going to room temperature. Well, we're not room temperature. So we're trying to find every avenue to make sure our donors are very comfortable. And this is what we have now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once you collect it, how does that get to the other patient?
Yes.
Because you said Guam, you said Hawaii. How does all that work?
Right. And these collection bags actually go all over the world. So once the collection date is set for our donor to do collection, there's also the logistics for our couriers. So this product is so precious that as soon as that collection date is made, our courier is also scheduled to come in physically, pick up this blood product, fly it wherever in the world that it's going, hand carried. The pilot on that flight and the stewardess staff know that there's life-saving stem cells on their flight. So they're the first ones off. If any type of delays are made, they are made aware of right away. That's how important this is because it's saving somebody's life. So when that happens, they're scheduled. They come to our area. We do the exchange with them. They put it in their cooler, looks like a little backpack, and they're on the plane. And it never leaves their side until they get to that transplant center.
Wow, that is amazing.
It is.
So today you may be donating for somebody who's across the world somewhere.
Right. Yes.
And your chances are you're the only person
Right.
that can save that person's life.
In the world.
Wow.
Not even their family members are able to do this for them. Isn't that?
That is amazing.
Yeah. One quick fact on that. If you ever had to get a transplant of this sort and you are not the same blood type as your donor, let's say the patient, this is the only way somebody's blood type can change.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
So if you were donating to me, I would eventually take your blood type because I'm getting your stem cells.
Correct. Wow. If we were not the same. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I know you touched on it briefly, is if a couple of years from now, sometimes they get to meet each other.
Yes, they do.
Have you been able to experience any of that?
I have. And it's very emotional. I've seen a couple of people be able to meet here. We used to have donor center dinners, and we were actually able to schedule a couple of our donors to meet their patients. And it was very emotional for them, for their families, and just to see like how the mothers, usually just me being a mother, right? Just see the mothers just hug that person as saying, thank you for saving my child's life. That's just, how can you even put words to that? Right. But yes, it's emotional. It's wonderful. It's just gives you that boost of, yes, let's keep pulling those 12 plus hour shifts, because you're saving people's lives. Right. But yes.
So you did touch about being a mother, and along your journey here, you also had one of your children join you here at the center. So talk about that and how that came about.
Right. So my only daughter, Taylor, she's my oldest child, was looking for a position, and she applied for a position here at South Texas Blood and Tissue. And she would actually help with our mobile operations, just gather documents and getting them ready for our technicians to go out in the field on mobile drives. Taylor had given birth to her last daughter, Emma. And 5 months later, she was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, which is a leukemia that's usually diagnosed for older white men. And she was a 25-year-old female who had just given birth so many months earlier and now diagnosed with this horrible leukemia. So when my family got the news of this, I wasn't so much in panic mode because this is what I do, right? I go out and find people to help save other people's lives. So my words to my daughter was, oh, don't worry about it. Mommy's going to find your match. Well, unfortunately, Taylor did pass 7 months later. So she passed away April 28th. And it's been just now 5 years. And being a mom, when I had told her that, oh, I'll find your match because I was already doing what I do, I didn't feel disappointed because yes, my heart is broken, that my daughter is not here anymore, but we're still living on her legacy. During that time, she would blog about her platelet transfusions that she would be receiving from South Texas, just pleading with the community of going to donate blood and just showing how many she had was like 70 plus collections. It was just crazy. And thanking the donors who took their time out of the day to go and donate. She also got about 10,000 people on the NMDP registry. She would do television interviews, radio interviews, just pleading with the community, bringing awareness. And she would just say, if I couldn't find a match for myself, if I could find a match for somebody else, that would bring her great joy. So living on or passing on her legacy to her family, my husband and I, her husband and her 3 children, we still go out there. We still get people on the registry, make them aware, and just her children are very much aware of, look at what mommy is still doing, trying to help people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hence the text Taylor.
Correct. Yes. That's where we started, is Team Taylor. So she also still has a Facebook on there and Instagram where people can go back and look at her blogging and just to get to know her a little bit and just to put awareness out there of like, this really was somebody who was receiving these blood products. And Taylor did pass, but the time that she was here with us made a great impact, and it's still making an impact. And just, I couldn't be more proud of her as a mom.
So we talk about blood in some of our previous and platelets, some of our previous episodes.
Yes.
I know you shared before about her needing some of those platelets and some of those blood units. Talk about that, because there's an interesting story. You here working here at South Texas Blood and Tissue,
right?
Something that even for us was kind of shocking.
Yes. So I was at the hospital one day, and the doctor came in saying that she needed a platelet transfusion, which was almost like a normal process for Taylor. But when they had come in with the worry on their face of saying, well, we don't have any platelets to give. And I was like, what do you mean? So I called to my staff and I was like, hey, they're saying Taylor needs platelets, but there's there's nothing here. And when I had called to my staff, one of the staff members said, she like blew up and she said, what do you mean? We work at a blood bank. So she actually physically walked to where we have our blood products, took a picture of the empty coolers and sent it to me. And I couldn't believe that there were no platelets for Taylor, and she had to wait 2 days. And, just seeing her and the agony that she went through, I couldn't even imagine all the other people that were going through the same thing that she was, because we didn't have anything to help them with. That was a horrible feeling. And we had to wait a couple of days. And some other people, they had to wait longer, or maybe just didn't get anything at all because it wasn't in time for them, which is very devastating.
So it's almost kind of saying that don't wait for the next person to donate, because somebody's already waiting for you to come out and donate. Exactly.
Don't think that, somebody else is going to do it. No, you need to be the one to step up to do it. We need you no matter what.
Yeah. So with that being said, you're here now. Has that mission changed for you of being a nurse, and what's next?
Oh man, how that has changed me. Just being here, I take great pride in what I do, and who I work with is they're just amazing people that are just so unselfish. They give so generously of their time and wanting to be here, even to come in after hours. We've had to do a midnight collection, on a weekend, on a Sunday, Saturday. It's amazing. The people that I work with here, and I don't see this as a job. This is like my second home. I mean, I want to be here all the time because I know what the impact that we are all making here of saving lives. So living on with Taylor's legacy, it does get a little hard sometimes, but sharing her story, making people aware of what's needed is, I think, what my purpose is.
Yeah. Talking to your staff sometimes and saying when they have their bad days, they always look at Taylor's poster and saying, hey, Taylor didn't have another day.
Yep. So we have her big picture as you walk in, and some other little awards that she had received in her honor. And they do, we just all point to Taylor's picture, because me too. I have a bad day. I get tired, and then I look and I'm like, okay, here we go. Get back on the grind. Yeah.
So for somebody who's never thought about donating blood or platelets or joined the registry to become a marrow donor, what would you tell them?
I would just look at them, tell them Taylor's story of what an impact it makes when somebody's not on the registry. How, we were searching for Taylor's match as well. There's other parents out there. There's other loved ones, mom, dads, uncles, grandmas, brothers, sisters that are out there that are looking for somebody to help their family member, and just let them know those stories are out there. And thank goodness that your family has not been touched with this, but We need you to donate blood. If you have any questions and any doubts, any anxiety, please call, reach out. We're here to help you. We're here to guide you in any way that we can. Answer whatever questions. Call us again if you're still feeling a little angsty. Come and ask if you can come and see what a collection looks like. Come and do a tour. Come and see what we're all about.
Awesome. So for those listening again, what should they text?
They should text Taylor, Taylor, to the number 61474, and they'll receive a text back and a link to join the match.
Well, thank you. Anything else that you want to add that I didn't ask you?
Oh, nope.
No?
I don't think so.
All right, everyone. So as you hear it from Naomi, not all heroes wear capes. They are blood donors and they register to be a marrow donor and save lives every day. So hopefully this inspires you to take action, to go out there, donate blood. If you can't donate blood, encourage others to donate and join the marrow registry to save someone's life. So
thank you, Naomi, for sharing that story, your journey with us on how you are helping and giving back to our community, how you and your team are not only giving back here locally at our community, but around the world. But most of all, thank you for sharing your story and Taylor's story on y'all's journey of needing a marrow transplant and blood transfusions. Very motivational, very inspirational. If those stories motivated you who are watching and listening today, there'll be links at the bottom to kind of guide you on how you can become a marrow donor, how you become a blood donate blood in your area. So give me the thumbs up, like this page, and on the next episode, we'll talk about how I became a blood donor and what it's meant to me, how it impacted me at a very young age, and how blood donation's been part of my life since then. But also talk to someone else who's a advocate for blood donation and how it has impacted them. So until the next time, thank you for joining us in this episode of Tu Sangre E3.